There's a new lawsuit in the quest to stop gun manufacturers from making big, black, scary rifles, this time brought on by the very shareholders of Smith Wesson. The lawsuit claims that the company's manufacture and sale of AR-15s to the private market is costing shareholders money and exposing them to liability. And apparently, the shareholders are Catholic nuns? Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel with a story that I promise you is not a game of Mad Libs. I don't know how a group of nuns became shareholders in a gun company, and I don't know how a gun company ended up with anti-gun shareholders, but here we are. And we're not just talking one group of nuns here, we are talking several. The case was brought by the Adrian Dominican Sisters of Adrian, Michigan, Sisters of Bon Secours USA of Marysville, Maryland, Sisters of St. Francis of Philadelphia, and Sisters of the Holy Name of Jesus and Mary, U.S. Ontario Province of Maryhurst, Oregon. Stranger things have happened in the last few years, so if anyone had this on their bingo card, please let me know. Before I get into the details on this one, this video is brought to you today with the help of Blackout Coffee Company, both in terms of their sponsorship and their coffee, because it takes a healthy dose of caffeine to keep up with the news while also keeping up with a very busy and a little rebellious toddler. Blackout has been a big supporter of the channel for years and an even bigger supporter of veterans and the Second Amendment. Their partner roasts even donate directly to some of your favorite gun rights groups, so you can feel good about where your money is going. To check them out and help support the channel, go to blackoutcoffee.com/libertydoll. I suppose a company can't stop someone from buying shares in said company, but crippling Smith Wesson has been a pet project of these nuns from day one. In fact, they've been pretty open about buying stock in the company specifically to bring forth shareholder resolutions and lawsuits like this one. Time magazine even wrote a piece about the groups in 2022. Reuters was the first to report on this lawsuit and doesn't dilly-dally with the suit's true intentions. Right off the bat, it is confirmed that the goal behind the lawsuit is to force Smith Wesson to stop making, selling, and manufacturing so-called assault rifles. Though the suit itself doesn't beat around the bush either, opening with a photo of a Smith Wesson rifle next to blood spatters and pink flip-flops, a now famous photo from the Aurora shooting in 2012. It's right there. First page, first thing in the lawsuit. The suit was filed in Nevada, where Smith Wesson is incorporated and is the first case of its kind. The group of nuns filed the lawsuit in their role as Smith Wesson shareholders in what is known as a derivative lawsuit. Such lawsuits seek to hold corporate boards liable for breaches of their duties to shareholders, although courts generally find boards are protected from lawsuits for good faith decisions. If successful, the lawsuit would hold the company's director liable for any costs associated with the allegedly illegal marketing of assault rifles, and the damages would, according to Reuters, have to be paid out to the company's shareholders. The nuns claim that the company's board of directors has consistently been ignoring the risks associated with Smith Wesson products and claim the company has intentionally violated federal, state, and local laws by continuing to make, market, and sell modern sporting rifles. Though, of course, they don't call them sporting rifles. Instead, they call them, quote, military-grade mass-killing assault weapons. I'm also curious as to what exactly those laws are that the company has allegedly broken. I mean, if only there was a three-letter agency who rigorously and overzealously looks into FFLs and gun companies doing illegal things, and even not so illegal things. Maybe they would have some information if there were laws that were actually broken. Reuters points to the Remington suit where the company agreed to pay Sandy Hook families $73 million in damages, though neglect to note that that was a case in which the insurance company settled out of court. So it doesn't actually provide much weight or validity, as there was never any actual ruling. The case did, however, persuade other people to file similar lawsuits. One of those very lawsuits has targeted Smith Wesson. It was brought on by the families and victims of Highland Park, and they allege the company unlawfully marketed the rifle used by the shooter. That being said, gun manufacturers are typically covered under the PLCAA, or Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. This case, however, would not fall under that law. If they can convince a judge that the company's products really are hurting investors, they could get an injunction that would bar Smith & Wesson from making and selling rifles on the private market. But that would basically mean convincing a judge that they bought stock in a gun maker known for a certain type of item without knowledge that that item was controversial, and then the judge would have to agree that it would somehow make them more money to stop making it rather than continue making the very popular yet controversial item. Economically, I don't think that's going to work out. I'm also really curious if the judge will take their motivations into account, as these are obviously not people looking to make actual investments for profit and are instead people looking to cripple a company and an industry that they don't approve of. I mean, they have literally said this to the media. These very same group of nuns, who collectively own about 1,000 shares, have gone after the board before. They've repeatedly tried to use shareholder initiatives to bring the company down, with some slight success. In 2019, they forced the company to write a report on their gun safety efforts. In 2021, they tried to force the company to develop a human rights policy, which was voted down by the other shareholders. Then they also tried to get the company to submit to a third-party audit of its gun safety efforts, an initiative which was voted down in September, and which some other shareholders called extortion. In a statement, the nuns called for Smith & Wesson to rewind the clock and return to their policies and products of the 1850s and 1900s. We'll see how that works out for them. I am definitely interested to see where this one goes, if it goes anywhere at all. If they win, somehow, that would be big, bad news for gun manufacturers, so I will definitely be watching for the updates and bring you what I can. In the meantime, please do all of the algorithm things and check out the various support options down in the description, including voting for me in the 2023 Gundy Awards in the Top Female and Top Voices categories. And as always, thanks for tuning in, and happy shooting.